Ancient Egypt, one of the most powerful civilizations of the Bronze Age. Conqueror of Nubia, breadbasket of the known world. Land of great wealth and beauty. Tamer of the Nile River, and builder of great monuments and temples that reach the heavens. Mother of civilization, and great wanderer of the world. But even this mighty kingdom nearly fell to ruin had it not been by the power and blessings of the Most High Hashem through a Hebrew man named Joseph. Shalom and welcome. This episode will cover the life of Joseph. Our goal is to figure out which dynasty and kingdom of Egypt was Joseph a part of. Also, our goal is to figure out the biology of the Egyptians and early Hebrews of this period. Our final goal is to see what modern human populations share similar genetic ancestry to populations living in Egypt during the dynasty and period of Joseph. With that being said, let's quickly recap the kingdom, dynasty, pharaoh, and time period that Joseph was in. Most scholars think Joseph lived in Egypt between 2000 and 1600 BC. The historical period, known as the Middle Kingdom, lasts from 2000 to 1786 BC. This is one of Egypt's greatest times. There are 8 pharaohs during this time comprising Egypt's 12th dynasty. Joseph might have come to Egypt during the reign of Sosostris II, 1894 through 1878 BC. He most likely begins his career under Sosostris III, 1878 through 1841 BC. He lives in Egypt for 71 years, so Joseph dies in approximately 1805 BCE during the reign of Amenemhat III, 1841 through 1797 BC. According to 1 Kings chapter 6 verse 1, the Exodus occurs 480 years before the 4th year of Solomon. Solomon's 4th year is 966 BCE. That places the Exodus at circa 1446 BCE. Joseph was the vizier of Egypt in the Middle Kingdom 12th dynasty period to Pharaoh Sosostris III. Now that we understand what time period Joseph and the early Hebrew population was in Egypt, now let's look into the biology of Middle Kingdom 12th dynasty Egyptians. Let's first begin with one of the last pharaohs of the 11th dynasty, Mentuhotep II. Mentuhotep II of ancient Egypt's 11th dynasty, who starting as the ruler of the southernmost Egypt in about 2008 BCE, reunified the country by defeating his rivals and ushered in the period known as the Middle Kingdom. What's interesting about Mentuhotep II is that it's believed he was of Nubian origin. According to the book titled Historical Dictionary of Ancient and Modern Nubia, it reads, "The transition from the 11th dynasty to the 12th dynasty in the Middle Kingdom was not smooth. If it is correct to assume that Mentuhotep II of the 11th dynasty was quite possibly of Nubian origin." And according to the book Ancient Egyptian Imperialism, it reads, "There are other reasons to think that Mentuhotep II preferred to employ diplomacy in his relation with Nubian rulers. Scholars have long noted that in certain funerary monuments, the black skin of Mentuhotep's subsidiary wives is deliberately contrasted with the pale pigmentation of their maidservants, as well as with the ruddy brown skin of male attendants. The 11th dynasty ended with pharaohs such as Mentuhotep II, who are believed to have been of Nubian origin, And the 12th dynasty will begin with pharaohs who have Nubian origin. Amenemhat I, the founder of the 12th dynasty of Egypt, had a mother who was from Elephantine, which is around Upper Egypt and Lower Nubia. Amenemhat I, founder of the 12th dynasty, who, with a number of powerful nomarchs, consolidated Egyptian unity after the death of his predecessor, under whom he had served as vizier. According to encyclopedia.com, Amenemhat I, the mother of Amenemhat was apparently named Neferet and was a native of the nome or province of Elephantine, and he himself seems to have been born in southern Upper Egypt. And according to the paper titled A Forgotten Governor of Elephantine during the 12th dynasty, and it reads, "From the statue in the temple of Elephantine, we know that his origins are to be found there, as well as his mother. This opens up several questions about the role of the elite families of Elephantine at the end of the first intermediate period and the beginning of the 12th dynasty, especially taking into account that Amenemhat I's mother came from that region according to the prophecy of Nefertiti." And according to the book titled A History of Ancient Egypt, it reads, Amenemhes himself was not a Theban, but the son of a woman from Elephantine, called Noferet, and a priest called Sesostris, the man of the great goddess. And according to the book titled Chronicle of the Pharaohs, it reads, according to Manetho, the 12th dynasty consists of 7 kings from Thebes. Our present lists agree with the addition of a queen, Sobek Neferu, at the close of the dynasty. The first king of the dynasty was Amenemhat I, and assuming that it was he who had been vizier to Mentuhotep III, he seems to have risen from humble parents. An inscription from Karnak records a God's father, Senuseret, a commoner, as the father of Amenemhat. His mother, Neferet, came from the area of Elephantine. Amenemhat was thus of Upper Egyptian origin, and his religious allegiance was to the god Amun. And according to the book titled Encyclopedia of Ancient Egypt, it reads, Amenemhat I was a commoner, the son of one Sesostrit, and a woman named Neferet, lists as prominent members of a family from Elephantine Island. And according to the book titled Offerings to the Discerning Eye, it reads, without mentioning her name, Nefertiti simply stated that the king's mother was a woman from the first Upper Egyptian nome. Historians are in general agreement concerning Amenemhat I's descent from that part of Egypt, as well his plebeian origin. And according to Median Project, Elephantine, or the Elephantine Island, is an island on the Nile, with a large number of ancient Egyptian archaeological sites forming part of the city of Aswan in Upper Egypt. The island is located just downstream from the first cataract at the southern border of Upper Egypt with Lower Nubia. Amenemhat's mother is also said to be from Ta-Seti, which is in Nubia. According to the book titled Historical Dictionary of Ancient Nubia, it reads, Amenemhat I, this founder of Dynasty 12 in the Middle Kingdom. Textual evidence suggests that Amenemhat I had a Ta-Seti or Nubian mother and may have been born at Elephantine in Aswan. And according to the book titled The Story of Egypt, the Civilization That Shaped the World, and it reads, when former minister Amenemhat took the throne as Amenemhat I, his new 12th dynasty marked the beginning of the so-called Middle Kingdom. As the classic era of Egypt's cultural achievement, this included superbly crafted literary works of political spin, for it had apparently been prophesied that a king will come out of the south with the name Ameni, the son of a woman from Taseti, a child of Upper Egypt. He will seize the white crown and put on the red crown. He will unite the two powers. Since Taseti was the most southern region of Egypt, this implies that his mother was probably of Nubian descent and part of the Theban court. And according to the book titled Kingship, Power, and Legitimacy in Ancient Egypt, Chapter 5, the beginning of the 12th dynasty, and it reads, a literary text, the prophecy of Nefertiti, is used to shed light on the beginning of the reign of Amenemhat I. Then a king will come from the south, Ameni, the justified, by name, son of a woman of Taseti, child of Upper Egypt. The name Ameni is short for Amenemhat. And according to Encyclopedia of Ancient Egypt, it reads, Amenemhat, founder of the 12th dynasty, the prophecy of Neferu, also called Nefertiti, describes Amenemhat I as the son of a woman of Nubia, or of the Elephantine area in modern Aswan. And according to the University of Chicago, Ancient Nubia, A group 3800 through 3100 BC, the earliest writing of Taseti, land of the bow, an ancient Egyptian name for Nubia. And according to Live Science, Ancient Nubia, a brief history, the ancient Nubians were also well known for their archery skills, and the Egyptians sometimes called their land Taseti, which means land of the bow. Amenemhat I's mother is basically a Nubian. She's coming from places either in Upper Egypt and Lower Nubia, or coming just directly from Nubia itself, places south of Egypt, which is all basically Nubian territory, or places heavily populated by Nubians. Therefore, Amenemhat I's mother is basically being called a Nubian. And according to the book titled The International Standard Bible Encyclopedia, and it reads, in fact, Amenemhat I, founder of the 12th dynasty, may have had a Nubian mother. And according to the book A History of Ancient Egypt, and it reads, the founder of the 12th dynasty restored order. Amenemhat I, whose family seems to have been politically unimportant before and whose mother came from Nubia, seized the throne around 1985. And according to the book Ancient Egyptian Imperialism, and it reads, the reign of the first 12th dynasty ruler, Amenemhat I, despite the fact that Amenemhat's own mother was apparently of Nubian origin. So the founder of the 12th dynasty of Egypt, Amenemhat I, had a Nubian mother. Amenemhat is also the ancestor of all the 12th dynasty pharaohs. Their entire bloodline goes back to him, including the pharaoh that Joseph would have served under. With that being said, there was Nubian admixture in the pharaohs of the 12th dynasty. According to the book titled Were the Ancient Egyptians Black or White, it reads, the 12th dynasty 1991 through 1786 BCE originated from the Aswan region. As expected, strong Nubian features and dark coloring are seen on the sculpture and relief work. So the pharaohs of the 12th dynasty originate in the region of Upper Egypt and Lower Nubia. And personally, I believe you can clearly see this in the art, as well as the earliest 12th dynasty pharaohs, the way that they are depicted. Amenemhat I is clearly depicted dark-skinned, specifically dark brown. Then there's his son, who's depicted in a similar manner, Senusret I, who is also clearly depicted with very dark skin, specifically dark brown, and also his son as well, Amenemhat II is also clearly depicted with very dark skinned, specifically dark brown. By the way, to the far left is Amenemhat I, the founder of the 12th dynasty. In the middle is his son, Senuseret I, and to the far right is his son, Amenemhat II. So the pharaonic bloodline of the 12th dynasty had Nubian admixture, and you can especially tell with the earliest bloodline of this dynasty, Amenemhat I, Senuseret I, and Amenemhat II. But it would also seem like the general Egyptian population also had Nubian admixture in this time of the Middle Kingdom 12th dynasty. Apparently, there was a relationship and intermarriage between Egyptians and Nubians. According to the book titled Ancient Nubia, Egypt's Rival in Africa, and it reads, for example, Nubian bowmen settled at Gebalim during the first intermediate period. Married Egyptian women were buried in Egyptian style and soon are no longer distinguished from Egyptians. And according to the book The International Standard Bible Encyclopedia, it reads, a certain amount of intermarriage took place between Egyptians and Nubians, since the two peoples were ethnically related to each other. So not only did the pharaohs experience this Nubian admixture, it would also seem like the general Egyptian population experienced Nubian admixture as well. With that being said, it would seem like this Nubian admixture didn't just reach the pharaohs and the average 12th dynasty Egyptians. Nubian ancestry was also among governors, nobles, and priests. Take Shamai as an example. According to the article 4,000-year-old tomb discovery sheds new light on lies of Egyptian noblemen, and it reads, a team of archaeologists has uncovered the tomb of the brother of Serenput II, one of the most important Egyptian noblemen of the 12th dynasty. The discovery reveals new details about those who lived within the corridors of power during the period. The mummy was discovered along with a coffin inscribed with his name, Shamai, believed to belong to the brother of Serenput I, a nomarch who served during the reign of Pharaohs Senuseret II and Senuseret III, more than 3,800 years ago. And according to iflscience.com, Egyptian mummy of member of the wealthy elite discovered in a town near River Nile. And it reads, archaeologists have uncovered a 3,800-year-old Egyptian tomb that they believe contains the mummy of a member of a very important family from the 12th dynasty of ancient Egypt. Inscriptions along the coffin say that it contains the body of Shamai, who was the son of Satihotep and Kahima, and the younger brother of Sarentep II. Sarentep II was a general and nomarch, a kind of pharaoh-lite, who would rule some of Egyptian provinces under the reign of Pharaoh Senuseret II and Senuseret III. In a statement from the Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities, the head of the Ancient Egyptian Antiquities Department, Mahmed Afri, said that the discovery is important because it shows how far wealth and prestige followed anyone associated with the ancient Egyptian elite in the 12th dynasty. It seems even those not actually in power but just associated with it, like Shamai, who was related to prominent figures, were showered in riches and recognition. So this is a stela of Shamai, and again, he's from the Middle Kingdom 12th dynasty period, 1960 through 1916 BC. And this is Shamai's brother Senput II, who served during the pharaohs of Senuseret II and Senuseret III of the 12th dynasty. And again, he was a powerful nomarch. And I must add that Shamai's brother is clearly dark-skinned with medium brown skin, black hair, and dark eyes. But let's look at Shamai's CT scan and get an idea of what he and his family would have looked like. The following video will provide the answer.
And that was unexpected.
But the CT scan has one more surprise for Alejandro: Shamai's ethnicity.
Well, they have just told me that Shamai has a Nubian feature, which means that their ruling family was probably Nubian, and that was unexpected.
Examining Shamai's anatomy closely, the thickness of his bones and the shape of his nasal cavity, the anthropologists think he was a black African, likely from neighboring Nubia. A huge revelation that challenges the prevailing image of the Egyptian ruling class.
We always thought the ancient Egyptian elites were Mediterranean type, and in this sense, Shamai is representing the society of the frontier, in which different ethnic groups were mixed. At the end, it doesn't matter the color of your skin. Shamai was Egyptian.
So according to Shamai's CT scan, he was a black African. He was Nubian, and his family was a nomarch in the Middle Kingdom 12th dynasty period, specifically under Senuseret II and Senuseret III. So not only did the pharaohs experience this Nubian admixture, but it also seems like the general Egyptian population experienced Nubian admixture as well. With that being said, it would seem like this Nubian admixture didn't just reach the pharaohs and the average 12th dynasty Egyptians. Nubian admixture was also among governors, nobles, and priests. Take Khnum Nakht as an example. He bears the title son of a governor, and Wab priest of Khnum, lord of Shashhotep, an Egyptian city. This man, Khnum Nakht, had a father that's believed to be Nubian. This source comes from the Manchester Museum, and it reads, "The two brothers came from Deref in Middle Egypt and originate from the 12th dynasty, circa 1985 through 1773 BC. Their burial was the finest non-royal tomb found in that area. Left body coffin of Khnum Nakht, wooden coffin, held the body of the Negroid brother." The inscriptions of the coffins state that Khnum Nakht was a great Wab priest of the local god Khnum, and both his father and grandfather bore the title of local mayor, although neither is named. This slight variation in the inscriptions, taken in conjunction with the men's marked anatomical differences, may indicate that their mother had two husbands, and that the father of Khnum Nakht possessed Nubian ancestry. During much of Egypt's history, there was a certain mingling of the peoples of Nubia with those of Egypt at all levels of society. The objective was to produce pictures using the clay busts as models. A sketch of Khnum Nakht left was made. He would seem to have been a man with strong features, all somewhat negroid in appearance. Skeleton of Khnum Nakht shows he probably reached early middle age and that the skull was negroid. And according to the paper titled "The Two Brothers, an Enlightening Study of Ancient Egyptian Teeth," and it reads, "The skulls were found to be strikingly different, with that of Khnum Nakht being markedly prognathinous and Nakht Ankh orthognathious. The protrusive nature of the maxilla and mandible of Khnum Nakht resulted in the conclusion that he was of black African descent, possibly Nubian. Although Khnum Nakht is believed to have a father that was negroid and Nubian, both Khnum Nakht and his brother Nakht Ankh shared the same mother. When their DNA was tested, the two brothers indeed have different fathers, but they shared the same mother, and according to DNA, their mother was of African origin. According to the paper Ancient Egyptian Identity, it reads, for example, short maternal DNA sequences have been recovered from the remains of a liver found in a canopic jar belonging to Nakht Ankh, a priest of the Middle Kingdom. Preliminary results from PCR on the Nile Delta population in the late 1980s found that small segments of modern Egyptian mitochondrial DNA lineages are closely related to sub-Saharan African lineages. And according to the paper, the kinship of two 12th dynasty mummies revealed by ancient DNA sequencing, and it reads, the SNP identities were consistent with the mtDNA haplogroup M1A1 with 88.05 through 91.27% degree of confidence, thus confirming the African origins of the two individuals. The shotgun data for Khanum Nakt did not yield any readings mapping to the Y chromosome. Of the remaining 5, 4 have different identities in Nakt Unk and Khanum Nakt, leaving just one SNP that is shared by both individuals. The results therefore indicate that Nakt Unk and Khanum Nakt did not have the same father. So genetically speaking, Khanum Nakt and Nakt Unk have African ancestry. So African admixture is confirmed in Middle Kingdom 12th Dynasty Egyptians on a biological and scientific level. With that being said, what did the average Egyptian in the Middle Kingdom 12th Dynasty period look like? I gathered a plethora amount of depictions of Middle Kingdom 12th Dynasty Egyptians. This montage should give us an idea for the general Egyptian population and what they looked like at that time. You can find these images at metmuseum.org, Getty's Images, Almany Stock Photos, and Wikicoms, and type in Middle Kingdom Egypt wood models, paintings, stelas, etc. All of the images that you're about to see should come up. With that being said, let's begin. So based on how ancient Egyptians depicted themselves in the Middle Kingdom 12th dynasty, the average, general, and typical Egyptian phenotype was dark-skinned, ranging from medium brown to dark brown with a reddish or ruddy complexion. They also have black, thick, curly hair and dark brown eyes. This is what the average, typical, and general Egyptian looked like in the Middle Kingdom 12th dynasty period. And according to everything that we've covered, from the pharaohs to the governors, nobles, and priests, and the general Egyptian population, they all had Nubian ancestry and admixture. Therefore, I would say that Middle Kingdom 12th dynasty Egyptians were Egypto-Nubian, genetically and phenotypically. Hopefully this video was educational and beneficial. Be blessed, and shalom.